Cartels are now officially in the Pentagon's crosshairs. And it's not just the wall anymore. Trump ordered the kill shot. The days of local drug busts and random motels, they were fun, but that's Breaking Bad stuff. Trump wants to take the fight to El Chapo's front yard.
Is it true you're still a gang member?
Yes, I'm still in the gang. The only way you leave is in a box.
These 5 college students were lured by a fake job offer. Turns out that fake job offer was from the Mexican cartel recruiting hitmen. When these students declined the job, they were beaten, they were stabbed, and these childhood friends were forced to behead each other. Mexico was afraid to even investigate this situation because they are terrified of their own cartels. Yet we in America are allowing them to come into our country to bring their crime, to bring their violence, to bring their drugs, and to bring human trafficking because nobody wants to talk about why our border is so wide open. Just think about it. If these Mexican cartel members are that ruthless and violent to their own people, what do you think they're willing to do to American students? We need to secure our border, and we need Mexico to confront their own cartels before we have to do it for them.
Pick up youngsters, and then they would cut them up into pieces, and like let's say they would leave the heads in a certain city, and they'll go drop off the hands in another city. They'll go drop off their feet in another city. But they like those kids might be like those kids that you see at the park at night playing basketball or playing football, but they just want to catch someone. Like they want to get someone just to put in the work, you know?
This innocent-looking kid is actually an infamous cartel hitman who was caught by the Mexican police. He's acting so chill and not caring, but probably deep down, he knows what's waiting for him.
The Mexican cartel just apologized for unaliving 2 of the 4 Americans that they kidnapped. They turned over 5 of their own for making this mistake to the government, which means that they'll go back to the cartel tomorrow. And they gave an apology note begging America to ignore this. What do you think?
Mexico, it is what they say in the movies, but it's worse. They don't show the reality, because if they show the reality, I'll tell you an example. Just 2 weeks ago in my hometown, they found a location where the cartel hit bodies, and they say the real count is 5,000 bodies, but they said on the news they put only 300 bodies, 300 to 500 bodies. And that's, disappearing people, kids, adults, everybody. The cartel use them for target practice or torture or stuff like that, or kidnapping. I grew up with that violence around me. I was blessed enough that I had a mom and a dad that were very strict on me. My mom, when you're a kid, you hate that, Yeah. I hated my mom because she would never let me go out to the play with the kids, never go out on the street with the kids. But obviously that was a reason. She sheltered me a lot in a way of that. So I can tell you I grew up around that kind of kids, but you see it from, I saw it from my window, all the kids from my neighborhood, some of them are saying, some of them are in jail, and you grew up with that. It was hard, man. It was really, really hard.
The most powerful and most violent groups in Mexico. They're known as the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG. They were founded in 2010, and as of right now, their estimated assets are worth over $20 billion. They are known for extreme public violence. They're responsible for a lot of the decapitation. There are some skinning videos of cartel members skinning rivals' face skin off and decapitating them. Some of them are decapitated and their heads are used as basketballs, and those videos are uploaded onto the internet as almost psychological warfare. There have been rumors that some of the cartel members will participate in acts of cannibalism. Again, not because I think that they're cannibals, I don't think, but more so again for psychological warfare as a fear tactic. There are also very paramilitary vibes. They use drones strapped with grenades to attack people, and they're just wreaking havoc.
The way you live is in a box, and that's it. Like, they're taking you out.
Like you can see the whole lot of things happening here, and we just feel like it's normal. There's a whole lot of deep story. Like, listen to this guy and film what he's saying here. Like, listen to this. Like,
like they said, head first.
And is that true? Have you heard about that?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Donald Trump's administration says it wants to potentially go to war with the cartels, designating them terrorists, maybe even take military action inside of Mexico. What do you think about that?
I think that's crazy. I think that's just going to cause more problems, but Donald Trump is a smart man. He knows what he's doing. But you really want to go to war with Mexican cartels? That's up to you, man. I think you're going against the hardest right there, because they don't play around.
You see, in Mexico cartels or in Mexican cartels, they don't joke. Like life for them is nothing. Once you cross the line, no, they give you something. They kill you. They skin you alive. Like they peel your body with a knife and stuff like that. The stories I heard as scary. Like listen to this and feel something here. Like
this is the most disturbing cartel murder ever, and this is the trigger warning. Maria Fernanda Garcia Alvarez was a 16-year-old girl who was executed by some drug cartel members on suspicion of investigating against them. She was missing since July 15th, 2021, and a few months later, a gruesome video of her execution began circulating on gore sites and Reddit. The video is 2 minutes and 31 seconds long, and the setting looks like some sort of forest or some trail in the woods near a forest. When the video starts, Maria is on her knees with her hands tied behind her back. She is wearing jeans and a white blouse shirt. And the look on her face will keep you up at night. She is surrounded by at least 3 gang members, the cameraman, the one holding a gun against her head, and the other holding a pretty long knife against her throat. The opening 50 seconds is your usual cartel interrogation. The interrogation is translated to, interrogator demands her name. She replies, Maria Fernanda Garcia Alvarez. The interrogator then asked, who was the person who ordered you to infiltrate us? Maria replies, Fernando Mendoza. The interrogator then asked, who planned all the stuff you're doing? She says Fernando and Francisco. The interrogator then says, tell us the people who infiltrated us. Give us nicknames. She replies Oscar and then another name that can't be made out. Finally, he asked, who did you report to on everything we did? Maria said Fernando Mendoza. The killer then ends the negotiation by saying, now you'll see why you don't want to play with us. As the video plays out, it is extremely hard to watch. Maria is panic breathing and on the verge of tears. Her killer then proceeds to cut into her throat while holding his hand over her mouth and bringing the knife back and forth like a saw. And while watching, you can instantly tell the knife isn't sharp enough to cut clean through a neck, which makes this 100 times worse for Maria. Maria is screaming and screaming while crying hysterically. The sound of this is horrific and will keep you up at night. Eventually, the knife gets through the skin and into her throat. And at this point, Maria's screams change pitch dramatically. She tries to struggle, but the other man holds her in place. Her screams get deeper as the killer continues to cut and cut and cut. For a split second, she manages to move her head, which frees the killer's hand from her mouth. She then lets out a desperately loud scream that you wish you've never heard. The killer then regains control and puts his hand back over her mouth and continues cutting. She is still screaming after a minute of having her throat cut. At this point, it seems like the killer is losing his composure, I would say, for Maria's screams, and then takes the tip of the knife and puts it into her throat and pushes it down with his palm, right into Maria's windpipe, and at this point, her screams change in pitch again. You almost hear the scream and air leave her throat. The killer then moves the knife side to side to try and make the wound bigger, and after all this, Maria is still conscious. The killer then proceeds to stab Maria in the stomach a couple times, and seems desperate to get the job done. And it's extremely apparent that this is his first time doing anything like this. He then proceeds cutting her throat and stabs the knife again into her body. At this point, Maria's body then goes limp. The killer then looks at the camera and throws up the peace sign, and the video ends. This is truly one of the most sickening cases I've ever researched, and it's a shame stuff like this happens daily. I beg you to never go searching for this video because it's really sickening and sad, and it will honestly just ruin your day or might even ruin weeks of your life.
Were you ever scared for your life?
Every day. That's how you live. Anybody that says that they're not scared of that type of life is probably lying, you know? I think being scared is very important in order for you to keep yourself alive. Every time that I would get close to somebody, that person would get murdered, and it was so that was not ending. So when talking to people that are in this environment, and when talking to people that think that they're gangsters or they're about that life, you can tell right away if they're lying or not, just by asking them what kind of weapon they use. So you can tell when someone you can tell when someone is just bluffing on what they're saying.
You ever hear about an influencer that got killed by the cartel? The cartel?
Like this happens always. It happens every time. You see influencers are being killed and people are being killed, destroyed by the cartels. Houses are being separated. Families are being torn apart because of the way people have decided to live their lives, okay? They grew up in drug, I know the street life and stuff like that. They just want something to, like, the streets are hard. We need to survive. We need to eat. And at the end, they end up destroying themselves because once you take these drugs, you become addicted to it. You tend to destroy. You tend to see human lives as nothing because it actually means nothing to you. They find pleasure in killing. I'm sorry to say this, but they find pleasure in doing stuff like this. That is why the president is harming and the president is down on them to destroy them. You feel me, right? Like, it just
Cartel?
gets
Yeah,
mad.
there's this guy. His name is Juan Luis. It's kind of a sad story, to be honest. This guy, he used to make funny content, and he would make a lot of drinking content. What's crazy is, I'm pretty sure he was like 17, but he would do a lot of crazy stuff. He was kind of 6'9"-ish. Okay. You know what I mean? He would troll, he would make fun of stuff. He would just drink a lot of alcohol. In one of his videos where he's like making these funny TikToks, he's like talking shit, blah, blah. He says, F El Muncho. That's what he says. Okay. Now I'm saying El Muncho is the cartel boss of one of the biggest cartel families in Mexico. Holy smoke. What happens next is crazy, bro. He ends up going to another bar, just do his regular antics, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just making content, partying. 2 cars pull up, AK-47, and light up the whole bar. Oh, wow. There's a video of the influencer's body on the floor like this. Oh. How crazy is it that influence stuff from TikTok, from social media, can get you in problems like that?
This is just to tell you, you don't mess around with the cartel guys. Yes, you don't go around because you think you're famous, because you think you are like this kind of, you can talk, you feel like you have the audience, you can just blab your mouth anyhow, you feel you have the money. You don't joke with the cartel because once they lay hands on you, you're gone, okay? They don't come to beg with you or discuss anything with you. Once they lay hands on you, you're gone. You feel me, right? So you should not mess around with them. Just go for what you want, know what you want, and keep your distance. Keep your distance. Like, watch this is from a leader, a cartel gang leader. Like, listen to this. Like,
youngsters, and then they would cut them up into pieces, and like, let's say they would leave the heads in a certain city, and they'll go drop off the hands in another city. They'll go drop off their feet in another city. But they, like, those kids might be like those kids that you see at the park at night playing basketball or playing football. They want to catch some, like, they want to get someone just to put in the work, no?
This man was fed alive to a tiger. In 2025, a video began spreading like wildfire across TikTok and WhatsApp groups in France. The footage was clear, and what it captured was horrifying. A man identified by TikTokers as Emmy was said to have borrowed money from the CJNG cartel. And guys, he borrowed over 16,000 pesos. According to TikToks, Emmy owned a small shop. His business was failing, his family was starving, so he did what he thought was his only option. He borrowed money from the wrong people, the CJNG cartel. And at first it looked like he was turning around. He reopened the shop, paid back the first loan, but the profits didn't last. And when he missed a payment, the cartel came knocking. They didn't shoot him, they didn't torture him, they fed him to a fucking tiger. The video showed Emmy on his knees in the jungle, surrounded by armed men in tactical gear. Behind them, 2 enormous...
Let me repeat that again. He was being fed to a tiger. You could just feel it. Like a human being taking another human being and giving to a tiger to eat. Just because you borrow money and you can't pay back. They don't take you to court. They don't take you to the police station and stuff like that. No. They feed you to a tiger, but they skin you alive. You understand? You don't joke with the cartel.
Enormous tigers, one white, one golden, held on leashes like pets. Then the tigers were released. TikTokers claimed you can hear him scream as the animals mauled him alive while cartel members laughed behind the camera. It was one of the most disturbing people I've seen, and it spread fast. Millions watched it, thousands believed it. But guys, here's the truth. It was all fucking fake. There was no Emmy, there was no debt, and no one was fed to any tigers. This video wasn't a cartel execution, it was a music video. A stage scene from Iniciales del Terror by singer Tony Aguirre. Everything, the man, the guns, even the tigers were choreographed for shock value. But the TikTokers took that clip, ripped it out of context, and spun a horrifying story around it. And it worked. So remember, not everything you see online is true.
These cartels really are? They are extremists. They basically will take others, decapitate him, castrate him, and dismember him, and then go and drop off the human remains at a park so everybody can see it. They even put notes under victims. This is what happens when you go against the Sinaloa cartel. And all you see is, lay on my head, what have you. Okay, in one instance, the Sinaloa cartel captured 9 Mexican army soldiers. They decapitated all 9 of them. And they're lying their bodies in the town square with their heads facing away on top of their back. They were getting stomach and that's away. And another sign, this is what happens when you oppose the Sinaloa cartel. Kids walk through these parks. This is done in the day. You see people hung on bridges. Here we saw it in Tijuana, Mexico, south of us. You know, castrated. Women are also being tortured like that, raped, decapitated. There was in one occasion where Miguel Angel Gallardo, a major drug lord, had a wife, an enemy trafficker, had the wife.
And you can see, after having the wife here, he got to kill the wife after raping her, to send to the other colleague, the other cartel members, for them to see what he can do, okay? Because they had a small problem, so they suffered or they struggled to come to a compromise or something like, okay, we agree on this and stuff like that. They both refused, and they started exchanging words, and now he ended up now catching his wife, and now you can see now he turned to rape his wife. Then things like this are not supposed to be learned. That is why you see the president, when he said he's cracking down on them, we don't have to resist, just have to obey and listen, because he is here to do something good for us all, okay? Like, you're going to listen to something massive after this, okay? Like, the drug cartels are being cracking down right now as I'm talking to you. So subscribe to the channel, share this video while the other clip is coming back as soon as possible. Thank you. Jola, peace out.